Good morning. So today I'm going to walk you through creating a spreadsheet for the SIR model 2020. This is to kind of help with some of the calculations and doing Euler's method and be able to graph. Okay, so what I've done so far is I labeled, the first column with some of the data. I'm going to go ahead and do a wrapping on this so you can see what I typed in. We've got the initial susceptible at 10,000. This is for exercise 1 in 2.1 exercise, right? So initial susceptible is 10,000, initial infectious is 1,000, initial removed, and so on. The initial infectious period is 11, so this is 1 over B. The average number of contacts per infective during the infectious period, this is your C value, and this is A, this is the daily rate of contacts per infected. I went ahead, this is calculated as C value 6.8 divided by 11 or times 1 over 11, and so I went ahead and put that in a formula as equal to B6 divided by B5. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a column for time, a column for susceptible, a column for infectious, and a column for removed. Okay, and then the values are going to be going down here after I put them in. One thing I'm going to do that kind of helps with the second set of problems is I'm going to put in a delta time right here, and so that means we can change it. So instead of calculating per day, we can go every 5 days or every half a day or every 1/4 of a day or whatever. Okay, now the other thing I want to do is I want to define these things as names, because when I go ahead over here and I say, time is going to start at 0, and then we want to add whatever delta time is. I want to add on, 1 and then another 1 and then another 1 as I drag down this first column here. If I use the cell reference B8, when I drag it down, that cell reference is going to change to B9, B10, and so on. So what I want to do is define what's called a named range, so that when I say, okay, just take the one before it and add on delta time, or DT, or whatever, that name won't change. That won't get dragged down, and it won't change it to B6, B7, and so on, as I said. All right, so we do that by, I can right-click on this and scroll down to defined name range. It brings up this box over here to the right, and I can add DT. And so, done. That cell is now DT, right? And if I come over here and I said, let's take D2 and add on DT, it just adds on 1. And I can go ahead and drag this down a bunch of rows. And you can see it just keeps adding on 1. Now, if I was to change this to 5, now you can see it's counting by 5, so it takes 0, D2, and then it adds on 5, and then adds on another 5, and so on. So that's the idea of a named range, is I can just update it, and boom. All right, we get it. So I'm going to add a named range for the initial susceptible. I'm going to call that S lower 0. So that stands for S of 0, the first one. I'm going to put on one right here. I'm going to add that being I sub 0. And for removed, I'm going to do R sub 0. All right, make sure it's something you can remember so you can refer back to the formulas later on. All right, here, this is 1 over B. So I'm going to say that this is B, but I'm going to see if I can do equals 1 divided by this cell reference. Let's see if it'll take that. Nope, it does not like that range. So we can't actually do a value here. So what I might do is down here, I'm going to put recovery rate as being equal to 1 divided by this B5. And then I'm going to use that and say this is going to be B9 is going to be my little p value. All right, so that's going to be my recovery rate. And then here, I'm going to call that A. So there we go. We got our A, we got our B, we got our DT, and we got our initial values, right? So this here is going to be equal to S sub 0. This here is going to be equal to I sub 0. And this here is going to be equal to R sub 0. And so I use those named ranges so that I can try and just update them. I can update them in the columns on the left, and they will be updated throughout the entire spreadsheet. All right, now we do our formulas. So here, we're going to do equals because we're going to start out with a formula. Now I want to take E2. I'm not going to say initial susceptible because as it calculates a new susceptible population, I need to use that new population to calculate the next one. This is a recursive type formula, all right? And we subtract out of this susceptible, we subtract out, it's going to be A times it's A times S, it's A times E2 times F2, right? But I need to divide in here by the total population, and I think I need a column here for, or a value for the total population. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down total. I'm going to call it T-pop. When I'm done, that's going to be my named range. But I'm going to put down here total pop, which is going to be equal to the sum. I'm going to use a formula. Sum of, and what do we got to add together? We got to add together S sub 0, comma I sub 0, comma R sub 0. That is our total population. And then I'm going to define that named range as T-pop. All right, and so now it looks like this might work. What is it saying? It doesn't like a name in here. Unknown T-pop. T-pop is down here. T-pop is there. I don't know. Let's try and B10, right? B10 is total pop 30,000. Let me try and get rid of this and then put back in T-pop. And there we go. It looks like it maybe is still throwing me an error. Unknown named range. TPOP. Ah, well, I'll just put in the 30,000 for right now and do that. Now infectious, this is going to be equals I sub 0. Now we're going to add in the A times times E2 divided by 30,000 times F2. So that's being added in, right? That is the differential. That's the susceptible is losing. So that gets added into infectious, but then we have to subtract our recovery rate, which is B9. That's just B, sorry, B times I sub 0. And so there we go with that one. And finally, removed is going to be G2 plus B times F2. So there we go. Those are the values I get for t being equal to 1. As I said, this is a really nice because now I can just drag these down to calculate all of the rest of the values. Please note that you need to definitely drag down each column individually, but make sure that you don't think that like, oh, right away the numbers are all the same. Well, you need to drag down all the columns to get the numbers to fill in. Okay, so there we go. That's what we have so far. And if I just want to go down to 13 days, we can drag those down just a little bit more, and we've got our populations, right? Filled right in. And there you go. That's how you create a spreadsheet for this. Now, we'll need to go in and adjust these formulas when we decide to change our delta time, when we try and do like a half a day in exercise 2. But for now, this is a good start. Hope you guys are able to get this. If I can figure out what's going on with that formula for total population, why that doesn't update, I will let you know. All right. Hope you learned something. Thanks.